Yes, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, tankers of Blitz universe, to the channel. In update 7.1, the light tanks were changed. Tier 7 light tanks will become more maneuverable and dynamic, some thanks to increased engine power and others due to reduction in weight. To strengthen their status as the most dynamic vehicle type in the game, the power to weight ratio will be improved for almost all Tier 7 light tanks in update 7.1. With this in mind, the engine power will increase for the SP1C and T71, while the weight of the hull turret and suspension will decrease for the M41 Bulldog and AMX 1375. And in addition, the rate of fire will rise for the M41 Bulldog and the magazine reload will decline for the SP1C. So, I recorded 2 games. Sent in by subscribers. We have Dark Thor here sitting in the M41 Bulldog. As you can see, he's running it with the single shotgun. You can actually run this tank with both the single shotgun and a 3-shot autoloader, I think. But in my opinion, the single shotgun is the way to go. The autoloader obviously has the burst damage, the burst capability, but it has less DPM, and in my opinion it's not worth that trade. It's not worth having that burst DPM over the far lower DPM. But this tank has got has got less weight. It lost some weight. It became a bit skinnier. The weight of the hull was decreased, the weight of the suspension was decreased, the weight of the turret and the top turret, the stock turret and the top turret were both decreased as well. That also means that the tank traverses a bit less, apparently, according to Blitz Hangar, which I find a bit strange, but it might pick up speed a little bit quicker, etc, etc. So that's just a balancing factor, in my opinion. Are these then buffs that should make you stand up and cheer and wave and suddenly rush out and get all these tanks in your garage and use free XP to go to the M41 Bulldog as quick as possible? Well, yes and no. These are light tanks, that is, these are a great class to play. As I said yesterday in the prototype video, in the standard B video, I like tanks with good gun handling, with good maneuverability, with not that much in terms of armor. I like the dynamic gameplay, as Wargaming are stating, obviously. And truth be told, I'm not that good at side scraping. I don't know, I kind of lack the patience, I think, and I sometimes just figure that I have armor, so people will bounce, but they aim for my weak spot. So, yeah, they will penetrate me anyway. I like this type of gameplay more. Playing catchy, sneaky, running around, going to spots where I can shoot the enemy a little bit, and then go for the next one, basically. That's why I love the Leopard, that's why I like the Standard B. And that's why I also quite like the M41 Bulldog. I think I played it on my first game on the press account ever when they were first introduced into the game. And I got an ace straight away. And Dark Thor here is showing us that you can go forward with the tank and then reverse and then go forward again and shoot. That's a great tactic to employ. And he also shows the importance of keeping your hit points, because obviously the Reds had a smasher on in their ranks, and a smasher is a bit of a, you know, well, we all know what a smasher is. It's a somewhat stupid tank, especially if you're playing against a Gandalf, who was in the Legion team that won the Twisted Cup. Those are players that know what they are doing. Of course, you will have stupid players in smashers as well, but a smasher player that knows what he's doing, those are, in my opinion, the worst, because they know how to use the tank, and they know that if you are in a position like this, they will be able to shoot you. So just keep reversing, and then they shoot the rock. That's fortunate, and that means that you can start working the DPM of the single shotgun on the M41 Walker Bulldog. Back to the buffs and the impact, quote unquote, impact they will have on the game. I've titled this video Light Buff because it's a buff, but it's only marginal. The T71 will get a bit more in terms of buff. It will get a significant increase in horsepower for both of the engines. And the SP1C, that one's also getting a buff in terms of DPM, at least on the autoloader, that is. Dark Thor getting an ace game on the M41 Bulldog, and you can see that the bar isn't that high on this tier 7 light tank, which goes to show that these are hard tanks to play. And if you're in a matchup like this, I mean, look at the red team, and Revelry say they have an RU-251, they have an IS, they have an SU-152, and this is an SP-1C, and you can put a pumpkin on top, but it still is a tank with aluminium reinforced cardboard for armor. It is not a brawling tank. It is a really tiny terror, and I've covered that before in a video, I think years ago by now. It is a tank that's really tiny. You can just fit it in every nook and cranny. This tank is I think it's the size of a Tiger II turret, and it does have a really good trait, in my opinion. Well, if you were playing the M41 Bulldog, you will want to play the single shotgun. With this tank, in my opinion, not so much, especially with the buff to the 90mm Mecha mit Mehrlader-Einrichtung. This one gets a full reload of 11 seconds now, and that's obviously just bone stock. If you have a crew and using food, etc., I think you might be able to get it down to 10 seconds. 10 seconds for 450 reload in a tank this tiny isn't that bad at all. And P36C here, you might start thinking, why the hell is he shooting HE at a Tiger II? Of course he won't penetrate, he knows that. But he was shooting the track with this 90mm gun, and that gives it a bit more oomph to knock the tracks off. Unfortunately, there weren't any teammates to take full advantage of a tracked Tiger II in front of them, and he's going into the bush and he's going to get spotted by this Tiger, I think. Rolling backwards a little bit, one shot, there we go. Another shot in the magazine, yes, hello Ravioli, can we shoot you? No, we can't, that's unfortunate. Sit behind the rock and reload. This is what you have to do. This is autoloader 101. Be sure that you have 2, 3 or 4, whatever you have in the magazine. Be sure that you have a full magazine. And I think he would have been able to penetrate the Revelry say, and that guy is playing pretty well. He knows he's getting shot, so he gets behind the rock, then it's going to poke out to spot a little bit, and is he spotted? Yes, he is, I think. Yes, he is. Just a little bit too close to the bush. If you had pulled behind a little bit further, then he would have remained undetected. But the good thing about this reload actually is that if you are spotted and if you're then sitting behind hard cover, the reload is about 10 seconds for the full magazine, and it takes about 10 seconds to reset your camouflage, which you can see here. I mean, there's another light bulb. This camouflage had been reset. He's gonna go roll around, autolock on the SU-152, clear a tank, then another shot into this Tiger, who is now turning around with his turret, not knowing what to do. And this is what you should do with this tank. You do not ram people. I mean, that little intro of the Dracula was just pure luck. But when you can shoot people with HE, you do have a nice tasty HE shell. It's a 90mm gun, so it's not going to be monstrous damage. But that 90mm gun, I mean, it has got 45mm in terms of penetration, which is more than enough to punch through the side of a RU-251 or same tier light tanks, maybe not an LTTB, but other SP1Cs at 270 per shot. That's 540 within 3 seconds. That's pretty freaking tasty. And if you can play the tank like this, you just maneuver around, keep your hit points, and then use the 2 shots to full effect. It is a great harvest, a great cleaner, a scavenger, and it can bounce. Just look at this. Hello! You will never bounce a shot with an IS. Only once in a lifetime, and then you want to shoot it through the side, and you do only track damage. RNG giveth and RNG taketh. You can't really complain for not penetrating a Russian heavy tank through the track wheel if you've just bounced its 122mm shell. And P36 is going to use HE again to track this IS in place. Wait a bit until he repairs the track and then retrack him to get some sweet assistance damage as well. And talking about sweet, I watched him play this game. And I hope that more people will start playing the SP1C because it's a funny little bugger, a funny little tiny terror type of tank. And I think Wargaming have hit a bit of a sweet spot for this little tank in regards to mobility and firepower and usefulness in the game. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, tankers of Blitz Universe. A little bit of a video on the light buffs in update 7.1 for World of Tanks Blitz. Thank you all for watching, for all the support. And I'll catch you all tomorrow again. Cheers, happy tanking, bye bye.